Hey everyone, this is going to be an insurance video. Hopefully this video helps you understand what you might expect to pay by owning or leasing a Tesla Model 3. So I'll go through my policy specifically. There's a lot of factors that determine your insurance premium, but this information will just be my driving history, what's covered, Tesla's requirements, as well as the cost that I'm paying in each category. So my policy is with Progressive. I actually have a 2020 Model 3, but when I was leasing this vehicle in late 2019 for the 2020 model, Progressive didn't even have the 2020 as a selectable option. I don't anticipate rates to be different because the car is the same. There's no other things about that model that would affect the insurance premium to my knowledge. But I went to Geico first. I heard some good things with Geico. I heard some not so good things, and the Geico rep basically quoted me just for myself over $2,000 a year for insurance. And he said, we are admittedly much higher than others. I don't know why. They may not be factoring in the safety data. This may be also different in 2021, and hopefully they've updated their algorithm to factor in how safe these vehicles are. Tesla insurance is still not available in Arizona. This is something we expected to roll out beyond California for some time, but most have told us that this is going to be coming hopefully sooner than later. But for this coverage, this is the basically close to the minimum needed. This is a full coverage for the lease. Tesla leasing requires $50,000 for property damage, $100,000 for bodily injury to any one person, $300,000 for any one accident, $2,500 deductible, and some physical damage insurance for the full value of the car. So I got all of those, plus I added some other things around full glass coverage, which if you're in Arizona, you know that is absolutely needed. I'm on my second windshield in a year and a half, and I'm probably going to need a third. I did have my window tinted, the front windshield, 70% last year, and it's something where if you're going to do that, absolutely do that as soon as you get the car, because you could get a rock chip or crack in the windshield any day on these freeways with all the rocks that we use for landscaping in the state. And this is something that insurance, both from the collision glass repair has said and Progressive themselves, that if the window is tinted prior to breaking, they will replace it with the tint, which is awesome. So highly recommended. My premium is $1,760 per year. I pay that in 2 installments each, and you can see what my coverage is. Now that's covering 2 drivers. It's covering the vehicle scheduled for commute use only. There isn't, interestingly, many years ago when I started driving about 15, 16 years ago, and maybe this is still the case, I've used Progressive for some time. There wasn't an option to say, am I driving 8,000 miles a year, 10, 12, 15, and worrying about some sort of audit, because usually when you have that input, your insurance premium goes down because you're driving less, thus less risk. That wasn't even an option when selecting my coverage with Progressive. Now, I also came from New York, so I haven't driven and had to pay insurance on a car for a long time, but my record is clean over the last 16 years. My wife does actually have one incident that I believe impacted our rate. And then from there, this is something that you should keep in mind, that if you have a cleaner record, as well as bundling your discounts with home insurance, your rate could actually be a lot less than mine. So that's just something to keep in mind when thinking about this rate and the coverage, that I have full glass. I don't have coverage for anything else. So for rental coverage or paying for lease payments, if you go delinquent, Progressive does provide coverage for those items. And this is something that with your policy, I'm curious to see what you're paying with your quote. Are you paying less than me? Are you paying more? Because this has been something that I've gotten questions about, and it does factor into having the car. And when you do own and finance a car, you don't have to have coverage this high. This isn't saying this is the most amazing coverage, but because of Tesla leasing requiring minimums, you aren't required to have that when you finance or when you own the vehicle outright, like you paid in cash. So we have rental reimbursement, no coverage, no roadside assistance, no coverage for aftermarket parts, no fees for pretty much anything else. And it's $860, and I pay that twice a year. So that's what I'm paying for the Tesla Model 3. It'll be curious to see how this factors into other cars, especially with the Cybertruck with completely unknown repair costs. You can imagine these cars starting to continually go up in premium the more unknowns there are, but hopefully with more data, with autopilot and other safety features and the rate of accidents for these vehicles versus others, the rates go down. But generally, the rates are higher with other insurance companies because the cost to repair, the time it takes to get these parts is quite high. And not every body shop, not every collision center is equipped to fix Teslas. And then the availability for parts as well can be scarce. So that's something else to keep in mind. I hope this is helpful and would love to know what everyone is paying if you wouldn't mind sharing. Tesla insurance is something that I've heard is about 15% less on average or more than other insurance providers, but that is still only in California, hasn't rolled out to Arizona. Again, thanks so much for listening. Happy Friday. Happy Chinese New Year for those that celebrate, and have a good weekend. Take care.